Hi, this is Charles again with an Axis and Allies Air Force Miniatures Angels 20 Introduction to Movement. Now, looking at the map, you can see each map has a hexagon, and each hexagon has a face side, so you must always be facing one of those sides at the end of your movement. And as we talked about earlier, on the card, there's two different speeds you can go. You can go a slow speed, which on this card goes from a 2 to a 4, or a high speed, which goes a 5 or a 6. So when you're moving at a slow speed, at each hex that you move, you can turn one hex side. If you're moving at a high speed, you can only do that every other turn. So turning the facing is optional, and we'll just go through a sample movement here. We'll do a 4 movement on a low speed, or normal. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you saw as I moved through each hex I could turn one facing. So now going over high speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I went off map there, but I think you kind of get the general idea. So, you can either move the full 4 on the medium speed, average speed, or the lowest you can move is 2, and the high speed you can move 5 or 6. So you must move one of those two types of movements each turn. Also, each turn you get the option of doing a difficult maneuver. And difficult maneuvers, you roll a die to see if you're able to do that maneuver and add the number or the agility rating of that plane to that die and try to pass the test. So on a slow speed, you want to roll at least a 10, and on a high speed, you want to roll at least a 13. So if we're going to do a turn with this plane here, we would declare we were going to do a difficult maneuver and use that instead of one of the regular movements. So we will roll 2d6 and add 4 and then see if we were 10 or better. If we were 10 or better, that's a success. Anything less is a failure, and there are consequences for failing a difficult maneuver. So looking at the chart, you can see there's rolls. So you have a breaking roll and a barrel roll, and then you'd use the roll bonus here on the card when doing the check. So if you're successful, you're able to go to this and turn left or turn right if you're successful. And if you fail, you basically go one hex forward. So a breaking roll, make a roll maneuver check. Slip side to the hex at your 10 o'clock or 2 o'clock and turn one hex side 60 degrees. If you fail, move one straight hex forward. Now you only get one of these per turn, so if you fail it, you pretty much cannot correct from that maneuver. So a barrel roll, make a roll maneuver check. If you're successful, side slip to the hex at your 10 o'clock or 2 o'clock. Failure, move straight one hex. If you're doing a climb maneuver, if you're successful, move straight one hex and increase altitude by 1. If you fail, you move straight one hex. You can see by the example here, basically just keep the same facing and slipstream over. If you want to do a power dive, make a dive maneuver check using the dive bonus on your card. If you're successful, move straight one hex and decrease your altitude by 1 or 2. If you fail, move straight one hex and decrease your altitude by 1. Split S, make a roll maneuver check, move straight one hex, decrease your altitude by 1, and turn 2 or 3 hex sides 120 or 180 degrees. If you fail, you move straight one hex and decrease your altitude by 1. So you kind of get the idea of how all these go, and you can see almost all of them except for the tight turn are basically a straight move forward. Even this one's a move forward and turn one facing, where this one allows you to turn two facings. And then after all the planes have moved, you do firing, but there's also check for movement special abilities, and some cards have special abilities. After all movement is done, they're able to do one more thing. I haven't come across that yet, but you can also have collisions. If you have everybody two planes in the same hex, you have to do a collision check if they're at the same altitude. And that's pretty much it for movement. So the next video that we'll do is on attacks, and I'll show you how that works.